Have you ever looked at your life and felt like you were still waiting for it to start? Like the job is temporary, the relationship is temporary, the mess in your room is temporary, because somewhere down the road, your real life is going to begin. Most people call this a phase. They say, just be patient, it'll click eventually. But here is what nobody tells you. There is a very real psychological pattern where a part of a person quietly refuses to grow up. Not because they are lazy, not because they lack intelligence, but because some deep part of them is terrified of what growing up actually requires. And the most uncomfortable part of this video is that you might recognize yourself in it. So I need you to stay calm enough to listen until the end, because this might be the exact thing you have been needing someone to name. Carl Jung used a Latin term to describe this pattern, Puer Aeternus, the eternal child. You may also know it as Peter Pan syndrome. This is not about intelligence or capability. People caught in this pattern are often sharp, full of ideas, genuinely gifted. What defines this state is something else entirely. An extreme attachment to the feeling of total freedom, not being tied down, not being responsible for anyone, not having to make a single fixed choice. Every door stays open, but no door ever actually gets walked through. Jung described this with a phrase that lands with uncomfortable accuracy: the provisional life. You live as though what you are doing right now is not your real life. You hold a job, but tell yourself it is temporary while you wait to be discovered. You stay in a relationship, but somewhere underneath you believe this is not quite the right person, just a placeholder until something better arrives. You live in spaces that stay unfinished, in plans that stay unspoken, because everything stays provisional. And because everything is provisional, you never put your full self into anything. You become a spectator of your own life, watching other people fail, get up, fail again, and slowly build something real, while some part of you quietly believes you are above that process. Not because you are free, because you are using freedom as a shield. Here is the deeper layer that most people miss entirely. Where does this come from? Marie-Louise von Franz, a colleague of Jung's, observed something striking. Most people caught in this pattern were, as children, genuinely gifted. The smart one, the talented one, the one who learned things quickly and was praised constantly for it, special, full of potential. And those early compliments, given with love, with good intention, quietly created something dangerous, a sense of self-worth built entirely around being exceptional, around potential rather than results. The tragedy unfolds when that child becomes an adult and meets the real world, because the real world does not reward potential. It rewards persistence. It rewards showing up after the mistake. And for someone whose entire identity was built on being naturally gifted, making an ordinary mistake feels like an existential threat. The mind's solution to that threat is procrastination, not laziness, protection. As long as you have not truly started, you still get to believe that if you did start, you would be the best. The moment you actually try and fall short, the illusion breaks, so the mind protects the illusion by never fully testing it. This is the spiritual layer that almost nobody names. Many Christians live a version of the provisional life inside their faith. They pray as though God will eventually do the growing up for them. They treat spiritual maturity the way the eternal child treats everything else, as something that will simply arrive one day, rather than something built through the unglamorous, repeated discipline of showing up. 1 Corinthians 13:11 says, "When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me." Paul is not describing an automatic transition. He is describing a decision, a putting away. The eternal child waits for maturity to happen to them. Scripture describes maturity as something you actively put on. So how does this pattern actually trap a person once it has formed? There are three specific mechanisms that keep the eternal child stuck, and recognizing them is not about shame. It is about finally seeing the enemy clearly enough to act against it. The first trap is constant numbing. Every time responsibility or the fear of failure presses in, the instinct is not to face it, but to escape it. Hours disappear into scrolling, into games, into any quick source of stimulation that postpones the discomfort. This is not normal rest. It is a psychological anesthetic, a way to forget, for a little while, that life is standing still. The second trap is an extreme fear of long-term commitment. Everything is exciting while it is new. The moment something asks for a promise, a relationship, a financial responsibility, a 5-year plan, the eternal child starts noticing every flaw in the other person, every reason to quietly pull away. And often, unconsciously, they are drawn toward people who will carry the weight for them, the bills, the decisions, the emotional labor, while they remain the one being taken care of. The third trap is victim mentality. Every external pressure, a difficult boss, an unfair economy, the simple passage of time, becomes proof that the world is against them. And while some of that may be genuinely true, using it as the only explanation hands total control of your life over to your circumstances. Here's what changes everything. Recognizing these three traps is not an invitation to self-condemnation. Guilt does not make anyone grow up. Action does. There is a structure to actually stepping out of this, and it begins with completely reframing what growing up means. The eternal child believes responsibility is a cage that kills creativity and ambition. The truth runs in the opposite direction entirely. Responsibility is not a cage. It is the structure that lets a dream survive contact with reality. A gift without discipline disappears. An idea without follow-through stays a fantasy forever. The next step is embracing the ordinary on purpose. Doing the small, boring tasks, paying a bill on time, cleaning a room without a screen for distraction, finishing something unglamorous. With full seriousness. These are not insignificant acts. They are how the mind comes back down out of the clouds and re-engages with what is actually real. Alongside this comes deliberate exposure to the exact thing that has been avoided. Sending the application you've been delaying, asking for honest feedback you've been afraid to hear, apologizing for something you've let sit unresolved. Failure, once actually faced instead of imagined, is almost never as catastrophic as the mind made it out to be. And because the eternal child cannot fully rely on their own willpower in the beginning, they have spent years negotiating with themselves to avoid discomfort. The final piece is finding outside structure. A mentor, a community, someone honest enough to call out the excuse the moment it appears. Jung wrote something that deserves to sit with you for a long time. The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of its parents. The provisional life does not just cost you time. Left unaddressed, it gets carried forward into how you love, how you parent, how the next generation learns what responsibility means by watching whether you ever picked it up yourself. The good news is this. There is no perfect moment that magically pulls anyone out of the provisional life. There is only the decision, today, imperfectly, without waiting to feel ready, to finally put away the things of childhood. If what we've talked about today is something you want to go deeper with, I created a structured 7-day journey to help you calm your mind and begin working through the patterns your nervous system has been carrying. It's called the 7-Day Guided Journey to Calm Your Mind. The link is in the description below. It's practical, gentle, and built for exactly this kind of inner work. Take the next step at your own pace. Subscribe to this channel. Every week I create content at the intersection of psychology and Christian faith because your inner life matters. and you deserve the language to understand it. You are not alone in this.